Hey Wanderers,
I'm Amanda.
and I'm Ron.
Welcome to Wanderlost.
This is Military Chatter. So, the opinions in this video are mine. They don't represent the Department of Defense, United States Air Force, or the Air Force Chaplain Corps.
Military Chatter is our weekly look at how our life works in the military, and we are currently in a series about being a chaplain, specifically in the Air Force. So it's mostly me just asking him questions, but we wanted to talk about this time about some of the duties of being a chaplain. So go ahead, you were telling me where you found the list that you're using or whatever.
So the Air Force works on what we call AFIs. There's your acronym to put up.
Okay, hold on. And it means Air Force Instruction.
Correct.
Oh.
So these are instructional documents for how things work in the Air Force, and they're arranged by series. So based on what they affect. So everything to do with personnel is 36 dash something. So 36 series. Legal is a 51 series. So chaplains, our career field is a 52 Romeo. So our series is a 52 series. So all of our foundational documents are 52 dash something. So this comes from 52 dash 101, and so this is our planning and organizing AFI. It says here are our duties, here's what we do. It spends a lot of time talking about some of the different job titles and those responsibilities. We're not going to get into that, but what I wanted to talk about is what is our primary mission. So our primary mission and as the Chaplain Corps revolves around the free exercise of religion. So it is our duty, our role, to provide religious support and spiritual care. So one of the things, our Chief of Chaplains has put out this thing where our vision right now, and I think it's a great one, is that the Chaplain Corps cares for airmen more than anyone thinks possible.
And you said the Chief of Chaplains, put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
So does the Chief of Chaplains get to kind of say the direction they want the chaplaincy to go?
Yes. And
how do you become the Chief of Chaplains?
You hang around long enough is part of it, but that's, part of it is timing. Part of it is, some would say luck, some would say, blessing, but the Chaplain Corps has two general officers, the Chief of Chaplains, which is a 2-star, a Major General, and then the Deputy Chief is a 1-star Brigadier General, and then Colonels on down. So it's just, some people are groomed for it and get there, or maybe it's just, right timing with your career and what the Chaplain Corps needs. So, I mean, there's not a direct career path to it.
Well, okay, so it is an appointed position, or is it an assigned position based on rank? If that's the only person that's a 2-star general?
Well, you are, you become generally, although a couple times they've gone directly, but you become the deputy. You're appointed the Deputy Chief of Chaplains,
as a 1-star,
and you become the 1-star. So the rank comes with the position, not you get the position because you have the rank. Because the only people who are going to have those ranks
are in that position. Okay, and so then, is it an appointed thing?
What?
It's not a government appointment. It's appointed through the military?
Well, yeah, I mean, it works like any other general officer appointment. All general officer assignments or appointments are appointed by Congress through the process.
Okay. How long is the Chief of Chaplains there? Is it?
It's generally a 4-year
okay, so this guy that's in there now, his motto is what? Tell me again.
So it actually comes from Simon Sinek, but it's...
I do know him.
Oh. So what we're doing is called HC Next, so it's how we're moving into the future.
Did he write Leaders Eat Last?
Simon Sinek? Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So his thing is caring for airmen more than anyone thinks possible. So that's, all of our things are geared towards that, with a focus on increasing readiness.
So what is it labeled as in your thing? Because it's a word I wouldn't say. Core capabilities.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So as chaplains within that 101 document, here are the core capabilities. Here are the primary things that we are responsible for, and it's two huge things.
So why does it not say like core duties or something? Why does it mean capabilities? Because you need to be capable of doing those things?
Because this is a capability that we offer to the Air Force.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
So these are our core capabilities.
So what are they?
So they are spiritual care and advising leadership. And so we're going to talk this episode about spiritual care and kind of what that looks like, because it's a pretty big list of things. So the first thing is and what most people don't know is that religious support is actually not my responsibility.
In what way do you mean religious support?
So the religious program, anything that supports spirituality, it's not my responsibility, it's the wing chaplain's responsibility, it's the commander's responsibility. And we direct that program for him, but ultimately all the spiritual programming and those sort of things, that's the commander's responsibility to provide.
So I'm guessing it's somewhere in the AFI that says the commander is in charge of spiritual care.
Yes, it says in the AFI.
But is it in this 56 AFI or is it in his?
Everything we're talking about today comes out of the 52-101.
Okay. So
you can go
spiritual care is the commander's responsibility.
Yes.
But then the commander delegates that responsibility to chaplains.
Yeah, it is our role to implement the commander's intent. So a lot of what we do as chaplains, our primary driver is commander's intent. So how does the commander want to utilize the chaplain corps? So is there a focus on us just being out in the units? Or does this commander have a focus on us doing programming such as retreats? So the commander's intent is what drives the chaplain corps at each location. And that's going to differ, one because of the location and one because of what the commander's focus is.
And has that varied for you from place to place?
Some, yeah, because sometimes a commander may be very focused on doing events such as marriage retreats, and so there's things. Hey, how can we do these programs for our guys? And some are just like, chaplain, I just want you out in the unit, talking to folks, and so it doesn't vary greatly because as we'll talk about with the second core capability is we advise in all of this,
right?
But we're going to follow their intent.
I didn't know anything about that.
There you go.
Learning something new in this series. Okay, what else?
So the way in which we operate to do this is we operate in what we call an RST.
Religious Support Teams.
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
So a chaplain and a religious affairs airman, they used to be called chaplain assistants. Just in the last year and a half, they changed the career field job title to religious affairs airman.
Which is hard to say, harder than chaplain assistant.
So we call them RAAs.
Or RAs.
We tried that, they didn't like it. So we work in religious support teams. So ideally, whenever the chaplain goes to do something, the religious affairs airman should be with them, and everything's worked, because the religious programming is not just the chaplain doing stuff. We can't do what we do without religious affairs airmen. They're the enlisted half of what the chapel does. So that's very important. So a lot of the things that we do to provide in that is we are in charge, through the commander, to provide worship opportunities. And that's where we get to this idea, and you sort of brought it up in the last video, of providing for opportunities. So
right, providing an opportunity or providing for an opportunity. That is the distinction that I didn't consciously think about. Like, if I think about it, of course it makes sense that you can't just pull any chaplain out and have them provide any kind of religious experience for somebody. But the whole throwing the word "for" in there just makes a really big difference.
Yeah, so under that there's kind of two things. So to provide, we lead worship. So we lead various worship services. The caveat being is that they have to be consistent with our endorser tenets. So as a United Methodist, I'm not going to do anything worship that's outside of what the United Methodist Church allows. If it is a Baptist individual, same rules apply. Now we work in a pluralistic and interfaith environment, but when we step into the sanctuary, I'm going to be true to who I am. So as a deputy wing chaplain, when we have different chaplains in the pulpit, lead from your tradition. So don't be something other than what you are. So lead from your tradition. So that's that provide piece. We're going to provide a worship opportunity. So the provide for, though, comes in when we talk about creative engagement. And so that's where we would partner with local faith groups or connect with local.
Let's use Judaism as an example, because we don't have a Jewish chaplain here.
So we have a very small Jewish community here. So we do have a Jewish lay leader, which is an individual of the Jewish faith who has been endorsed by the Jewish Welfare Board to provide certain things. So they can't provide worship, but can provide like maybe fellowship opportunities, or be the conduit, like for Passover, to get in the proper kits for people to celebrate Passover.
So somebody comes in the chapel, they will talk to a religious affairs airman, and they will say, can you give me contact info for the local Jewish something community, maybe they'll say?
So like here, we have the Synagogue of the Hills, which has a traveling seminary student who comes in, I think monthly, and provides synagogue. They are a community around that, and we support them by making sure that they have what they need. We also, for that situation here, we have great connections with the only rabbi in South Dakota, who's over in Sioux Falls.
Wow, there's only one?
One.
That's 5 hours away from here.
He is he's the only rabbi. He is an Orthodox rabbi, but he has come over several times and done Hanukkah lightings. He's been here for other different Jewish holiday events and makes that happen. We just came through the remembrance of the Holocaust.
Right.
And so we worked with our Jewish lay leader, and she provided online content for those people.
Through the chapel's Facebook page.
Through the chapel's Facebook page.
Right.
And because we couldn't do an in-person experience, if we weren't in the midst of a pandemic, we would have supported putting something together to bring people together.
So you're providing for something that you can't provide yourself.
Yes. So the other part of worship that you find at most churches is religious education. So we're going to provide religious education, and we do it really in two areas. One, we're going to provide curriculum. So that's where we provide a Sunday school class in the Protestant tradition, where we have a contractor or a priest, depending on the situation, who's going to provide confirmation preparation in the Catholic faith for First Communion. It's going to be a vacation Bible school. Any of that standard stock religious programming, we're going to provide that. We also will provide literature. So that may be getting literature for a Bible study that maybe one of our people aren't going to lead. Protestant groups like Protestant Women of the Chapel are a great example of that. A chaplain may not necessarily lead that. We're going to sponsor it, and we're going to make sure that they get the literature that they need. The big thing about that in the AFI is that all religious literature has to be approved by the wing chaplain to make sure that it doesn't denigrate any faith.
Okay.
So I mean, we're not going to we don't buy literature that's completely pluralistic and is not faith specific, but it can't be derogatory towards another faith. It's got to be building people up in faith and not doing that by tearing others down, because the chapel is supposed to be a sanctuary of spirituality for everybody.
Okay, so anything else under that section where we were talking about kind of church stuff?
No, that's not all of what we talk about is religious support, but that's really the bulk of what we would do from a church experience. And those sorts of things that when people think, oh, this is what chaplains do in the Air Force. Yes, it is. But wait, there's more. And so we'll talk next time. What are some other things that we do that are, we would say, outside the church walls that still fall under that spiritual support?
Right. Okay, so we have, I think, 2 more episodes left in the Chaplain series. So you guys come back next week.
Yeah, please drop some questions below. So we'll have those for the Q&A at the end of the series. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Later, guys.
See ya.
In the military, we will come here. Okay, I don't like any of that. So this is the weekly series we have. Okay. Military, don't look at me. Military
You're just
chatter.
making bloopers is all you're doing.
Stop.
So where did I find all this info? So every made you a blooper.